Hey, what's going on, guys? How's it going? Coach Brown, back with the Coach Brown Show. This is episode one. It's been quite a while since I've been, here doing the live streams and podcasting and things of that nature. So it feels very good to be back. Super excited about, tonight and embarking on this new journey with you guys. Um, yeah, I mean the energy is so crazy right now. I don't really even know what to say. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead. We're just gonna jump right in, and tonight we're gonna be talking about fasting. For those of you who have been following my journey, you know that throughout my life I've been doing intermittent fasting, but as of recently, I re-embarked on a fasting journey, and in the last 7 weeks, I was able to drop 32 pounds in 7 weeks, which was amazing. I feel amazing. So I wanted to talk tonight about fasting and the power of fasting because there's a lot of misconceptions around it, and I get a lot of questions about it. So I figured, why not talk about that tonight and kind of share some of the things that I've been doing with you guys, and maybe even answer some questions that you guys might have. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump back into it.
Everybody gives you advice, yeah, on how to live your life, how to live your life. Don't you know that life is full of surprises? You better realize. Nobody knows what's in your soul and how your heart works. Nobody cares. It's time for you to live your life, yeah.
Oh, look like we were a little frozen. All right. Let me move to the side so you can see my fancy thing right there. All right, so tonight's episode is going to be around fasting. What is fasting? What are the different methods of fasting? How can one implement it? Because there's a lot of misconceptions, and maybe I'll tackle the misconceptions first, because I think the misconceptions keep a lot of people away from really tapping into the power of fasting, and really experiencing how much that could change your life, and change your quality of life drastically, because that's what it's done for me. So I wanted to share that with you guys tonight, and open up some eyes, open up some ears, and maybe even open up some hearts to giving it a go, right? So what are some of the misconceptions, and what are some of the things that people say to me often around fasting when they find out that I'm fasting? First and foremost, let me address that it's not starving yourself. That's the number one thing that people tend to bring up. It's like, oh, I mean, but you're starving yourself, or I love to eat. I couldn't do it. I love to eat. Guess what? I love to eat too, right? And I do eat, right? And when you're fasting, when you're intermittent fasting, more so, right? Because we're going to talk about the different kind of fasting, but right now I'm geared more towards intermittent fasting. When you're intermittent fasting, you're still eating. You can still eat the things that you eat inside of a day. It's not really so much about changing um what you eat, right? It's really more so about changing when you eat. So when someone says, "Oh, I can't starve myself," or "I love food too much," or "I have to eat," um you could still enjoy the foods that you love, right? You could still enjoy the same foods. All you're doing is, rather than wake up in the morning and just start eating, right? Wake up in the morning, eat your breakfast, eat a snack, eat your lunch, eat a snack, eat your dinner, eat a snack, just eating all day long, constantly putting food into your body. What you're doing is condensing those same amount of calories, right? Unless you want to drop, a lot of weight, then you want to reduce the calories a little bit, but you're still in the same ballpark, right? So let's just say you're getting 1,600 calories a day right now, or 1,600 to 2,000 calories a day with what you're currently doing. All you're going to do is take those calories and put them into a smaller window, right? So you're going to take that same 1,600 calories or 2,000 calories, and rather than having it throughout the entire day, and I'll tell you why you might want to stay away from that and the science behind it, but rather than doing that throughout the entire day, what you're going to do is shrink it into a window. Now, the body takes about 24 hours to fully digest something, like roughly, right? So I want to just paint a picture for you guys. I want you to imagine that um I say to you, you know what? I want to give you something to hold, and I want you to hold it for 24 hours. At 24 hours, you could put this thing down, right? That's 24 hours, digest the food. What happens is, or what would happen if I handed you something, I said, hey, I want you to hold this for 24 hours. You're like, okay, no problem, right? But what happens if 2 to 3 hours later, I hand you something else? 2 to 3 hours later, I hand you something else. 2 to 3 hours later, I hand you something else. What's happening is now I'm compiling things on you before you even have an opportunity to put that one thing down. Now you're working overtime, right? And it's the same thing when it comes to constantly introducing food into the body. You're not giving your digestive system an opportunity to really fully digest what you've already eaten. Because by the time it gets ready to work on the food that you ate, you're already introducing more food into the system, right? So when I say shrink, go ahead and just shrink the eating window. What you're doing is putting all of those calories into that smaller window and allowing your body the time to digest that food. Along with some other things that we're going to talk about. But just to dispel the notion of fasting or intermittent fasting is starving yourself, I actually can enjoy more food intermittent fasting with less worry and less guilt. Like when I've been intermittent fasting, for some of my dinners, I have like pizza, I have, some tacos, like vegan tacos. I have what are some other things I have? Some pasta, whatever it is. Like I'll have a big meal, like a big plate of food, and I eat all of it. And I could do that because when my body's in that fasted state, my digestion is ready to go, my insulin's low, something we're going to talk about as we move forward. So there's a lot of things happening in my body that allows my body to digest the food and also allows my body not to store fat based off of the food that I'm eating because my body's already in a fat burning mode. So number one, you're not starving yourself, right? Let's get past that. Number two, I'll say this is the second one, then we're going to talk about actual fasting. The other big thing is like people are like, oh, I got to eat. Oh, I got to eat. Oh, I got to eat. With the windows that we're going to talk about, you're going to see just how easy it is to get yourself into a fasted window. You're going to see how easy it is. Because I understand people have to eat, right? But all you're really doing is pushing your initial meal back just a little bit, right? And then maybe closing your last meal a little bit earlier, right? And you could start with a big window and work your way down. So, you know what? Matter of fact, let's just jump into the windows and then we'll talk about the benefits of it, right? So, really, really easy. First level is 12 and 12, right? 12 hours fasted, 12-hour eating window. Extremely easy because most of us are sleeping about 8 hours, right? So that 8 hours that you're sleeping, you're already fasting, like while you're sleeping. That's already knocked out. So if we say 12 and 12, start with a 12 and 12 window under the assumption that you're getting 8 hours of sleep, all you're really doing is eating or starting your eating window, like when you wake up in the morning, 2 hours after you eat, and then stop eating 2 hours before bed. That puts you at a 12 and 12 window, which is super, super easy to do, right? And starting with that small window of 12 and 12 allows you to get a feel for just how easy this thing can be once we get our levels in order, because it's really the levels that keep us on this eating path, right? And we're going to talk about that here shortly. But the first step is a 12 and 12, right? Really simple to do, doesn't take much. You're just having your breakfast a little bit later, and then you're having your dinner a little bit earlier, and that's going to allow you to get that 12 and 12 in, right? The next step from a 12 and 12, which is probably the most popular eating window for people who do intermittent fasting, is a 16 and 8. So basically what that means is 16 hours out of the day, you're in a fasted state. What does it mean to be in a fasted state? To be in a fasted state means that you are not having any calories, any sugars, anything that's going to affect your body's levels. And when I say levels, I'm talking about your insulin levels, right? Nothing that's going to spike your insulin. to make your body go into storage mode. Start storing fat and turning carbohydrates and storing it and stuff like that. You're gonna stay away from any calories or anything that's gonna spike your insulin inside of that 16-hour window. Again, you're already sleep for 8 of that. So all you're doing is, maybe start eating. Um, if we're looking at it, 8, you start eating 5 hours after you wake up, right? So say you wake up at 7 in the morning, you're gonna have your first meal for lunch. So basically, you're gonna skip breakfast, you're gonna have your lunch, and then after your lunch, you're gonna have your dinner, and then after dinner, you wrap up, you don't eat anything else. You go to bed, you wake up the next day, you repeat that pattern. But being in that 16 and 8 eating window, that's when you really start to see, or some of the benefits of fasting start to appear once you get to that 16-hour mark, right? This is when your body starts to switch from burning carbohydrates and the glycogen that's in your body and your blood. It's starting to make that switch over to burning fat. And that's where we want to be, right? What people don't understand is if you have extra weight on your body, it's basically food stored on your body, right? We're designed that when we eat, whatever we can't use, right, for survival reasons, your body says, okay, because in nature, we didn't know when the next meal was coming, right? There was no Stop and Shop, there was no Shores, there was no Uber Eats, there was none of that stuff, right? So in nature, we didn't know when the next meal was coming. So what did we have to do, right? Or what was built into this grand design? What was built into this grand design is, hey, when we do find food and we do eat, we're going to use what we can use, but whatever we cannot use in this moment, we're going to store it on the body, right, in the form of fat, so that if we ever go into a state of famine where there's no food available, we can survive because our body has the fat stores to go to turn into energy, to turn into fuel, to keep us going, keeping us able to keep moving and look for other sources of food while we're in that state of famine, right? So the fat on your body is basically just food, it's basically fuel, it's basically on your body to be used. But we never allow our body a chance to use it because we're constantly putting in new. We're constantly putting in new fuel, new food to be stored, right? So it's almost like if you went to the gas station, right? I just want to make this analogy. If you filled up your gas tank, right? It would be like you fill up your gas tank and you say, you know what, I'm gonna fill this gas tank up, but I want to get it down to a quarter a tank for whatever the reason may be. But you fill up the gas tank and then you stop at every gas station you see and you keep filling it up, you're never going to get to that quarter a tank that you want to be at. So it's the same thing with the body. If you have fat stored on your body and you say to yourself, I want to get fat off of my body, if you keep introducing more food and more food and more food and more food, never allowing your body to burn what you have already stored from eating and eating and eating, then you're never going to get there, right? You got to allow your body to naturally do what it naturally does. You know what? Let me open up this the chat because I'm sorry the chat was closed. Um, oh, mom's in the building. She said, just to say hi, have a great show. Appreciate you stopping in. Let's see. Oh, Donnie Rhodes in the house, baby. Let's go. He said, Coach Brown, what's up, brother? What's going on? Donnie, we got to link up, baby. Um, Thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry I had the chat closed, so I didn't see it. But yes, 16 and 8 is the most popular. And like I said, you gotta allow your body the time to burn what is already stored. We can't just keep shoveling in and shoveling in. Now, the thing about the 16 and 8 is it is very easy to follow and it's very sustainable, right? It's very sustainable and it's the most successful for the average person because it doesn't require um a large willpower or effort, or it's not really extreme, right? 16 and 8 is very simple because again, you're sleeping 8 hours. Some people sleep 10 hours, but if you're sleeping 8, that means you only got to go another 8 hours while you're awake in a fasted state, which is very simple to do. But at the 16-hour mark, certain benefits start to kick in. I'm going to go over all the benefits at the end after I'm done talking about these windows, right? Now, once we get past 16 and 8, now I want you guys to know when I first started messing around with like fasting, intermittent fasting, right? Because right now I do intermittent fasting, but there are times when I actually fast, and I'll share that with you guys here in a moment. But intermittent fasting, the 16 and 8. The next step up from that is what we call the warrior diet, right? Now, warrior diet is, I don't want to say extreme, but it's a method of fasting that takes a lot of discipline and willpower, right? So it's not something that I would say, hey, you know what, just jump into doing this. I would definitely suggest that if someone's going to try fasting, number one, talk to whoever's your healthcare person. If it's a doctor, if it's holistic, whoever it is, let them know that you're thinking about embarking on fasting, and just make sure that they give you the green light, right? But the warrior diet is 20 hours fasted, 20 hours fasted, 4-hour eating window, right? Now, the thing about the warrior diet, not that this is recommended, but I want to let you know that if you're doing a warrior diet, you're fasting 20 hours and you have a 4-hour eating window, you do not have to worry about what you're eating, right? There's not that pressure of like, oh, like, uh, I got to make sure I eat this and I eat that so I can lose weight and blah, blah, blah. Listen, if you're on a warrior diet 20 and 4, fasted 20 hours, eating inside of a 4-hour window, the fat's going to melt off your body, right? You're going to lose weight. Even if you're not the most disciplined person when it comes to what you're eating, you're going to lose weight. So imagine if you couple that 20 and 4 with actual healthy eating, you're going to slim up so fast, right? That's how I was able to drop my 32. I dropped 32 pounds in 7 weeks. I was able to do that following my 20 and 4, right? Fasted all day. I wake up in the morning, I fast all day. The only time I eat is when I get home at the end of the day, which is usually around like 5:30, 6 o'clock. I stop my eating window. I'm going to have dinner. I might have a snack. I might, whatever it is, I'm going to get all of my calories from that 6 o'clock window. Usually it's about 6 to 9 for me, right? From 6 to 9, I'm basically eating whatever I feel like eating. There's really no restriction, though I do try to make healthy choices. If I do make non-healthy choices, I'm not even crazy about it, because when I jump on that scale, the numbers are going down, right? I'll share with you guys, this week was Labor Day weekend. I went to like a birthday party, my sister-in-law's birthday party. Had some food, had some big plates of food. We was enjoying some drinks. We was, everybody was partying. It was a good time. I did not fast at all that day, right? I ate all day long on that day. And the next day too, because we went back, there was leftovers. You know how it goes, leftovers, everybody, basically part 2 of the celebration. So I did that. And on Tuesday, went back to my intermittent fasting. But that night we ended up making, I think we made like some homemade pizzas or something like that. The next day we did homemade tacos. Again, this is back to the fasting 20 and 4. But when I got to the end of the week, even though it wasn't my greatest week, I still almost lost 3 pounds this week, right? So the weight comes off with the 20 and 4. And it's also very convenient because I don't have to worry about, or whoever does a 20 and 4, you don't have to think about eating like during your day. A lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about what they're going to eat, when they're going to eat, how they're going to eat. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of energy and thought that goes into eating inside of a day. I don't think about any of that because, number one, I'm not hungry throughout the day because I'm in a fasted state. I'm not hungry. My insulin's so low. I have no craving for food. All I do is drink water throughout the whole day, and I'm totally fine. To the point that even when I do get home, and it is time to eat dinner, sometimes I eat dinner just because I'm in my eating window. Like, I'm not even hungry, right? The hunger is not there because that hunger switch gets turned off. As you embark on this fasting journey, that hunger switch starts to get turned off at certain points. So what was I going with that? Oh, so what I was saying is sometimes I'm not even hungry, but I eat because I'm inside of that window, right? So it's very doable. So that's the 20 and 4. You got a 4-hour eating window. Now, up from that, right? We got 3 more levels of fasting I want to go through, and then I want to get to some of the benefits of fasting, right? The next level up from a 20 and 4, which is the warrior diet, is the OMAD diet, right? So it's very similar to the warrior diet, the 20 and 4, 20 hours fasted, 4-hour eating window. The difference in this is that with OMAD, you're eating everything inside a 1 hour window, right? So OMAD stands for 1 meal a day. That's it, right? You sit down, you got, 1 plate, 2 plates, 3 plates, whatever it is that you need, right, to hit your calories for the day. But basically, you're going to get your 1,500 calories, 1,800 calories within a 1 hour window, right? You're eating everything within that 1 hour. Now, guess what? When you sit down, and this is happening with the 20 and 4 too, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about what it actually means when you're in these larger fasted windows, right? What's the benefits? What's going on inside the body? Why is the fat just falling off of you? Why is your energy through the roof? Why are you thinking clearer than you ever thought? Why is your vision improving? Why can you smell better than you've ever smelled? Why, everything is better when you're in these fasted states, and I'm going to explain why. But when we talk about OMAD, the 1 meal a day, fitting all the calories into that 1 hour window, what's happening is when you eat inside of that 1 hour window, guess what's up? Guess what's going on with your body? Your body is now in ketosis. Like I know a lot of people talk about like keto diet, right? I know a lot of people that do the keto diet, and they get great results. You know what I mean? But or not even one of the major thing about keto diet is that those people are in ketosis, right? They put their body into fat burning mode. That's why they're able to get such amazing results, right? Now, when you're fasting and you're in a 20 and 4 window, guess what? Your body is in ketosis. Your body is burning fat, pure fat. It's just burning fat. No matter what you're doing, if you walk to the bathroom, you're burning fat. You get off your couch, you're burning fat. You blink your eyes, you're burning fat. You pick up your cat, you're burning fat. Oh, now I'm rhyming, but you know what I mean. Any kind of thing that you do when you're in ketosis, your body is going into your fat stores and turning that fat into actual fuel to allow you to move, allow you to function, allow you to think, allow you to stay engaged, right? And that's what we want. So the OMAD 1 meal a day, when you eat that 1 meal, you're already in fat burning mode, right? And your insulin is so low, your body is not going to store the fat from the food that you're eating. It's not going to store those carbohydrates. So you're able to eat that food and you're able to burn it right off. And you're able to burn off the food that's already on you. So you're in constant fat burning mode. And there's one more aggressive way when it comes to weight loss that we're going to go to next, right? But OMAD 1 meal a day, it's very efficient, but it requires a lot of willpower and focus, and you got to be a very strong-minded person and strong in the spirit to be able to do 1 meal a day. But guess what? Once you start doing it, it becomes very easy, right? Since I've been doing OMAD, since I've been doing the 20 and 4, I don't get hungry. I eat because I know I need to eat, but I don't get hungry. I might get a craving for something like, oh, I would like to have this, but it's not a hunger. You know what I mean? And I know the difference between the two. And we'll talk about how that becomes apparent, right? The next level after the OMAD, after the 1 meal a day, after being fasted 23 hours out of your day and eating everything or all of your calories inside a 1 hour window is the next level, which is ADF, which is alternate day fasting, right? Now, alternate day fasting is just what it sounds like. Rather than doing 1 meal a day, you're doing 1 meal every other day. So 1 meal every other day is very, very, very aggressive in terms of the level of focus it's going to take, but also in terms of the type of benefits that you're going to reap from this, right? And if you could be disciplined enough to do that 1 meal every other day, obviously they're going to be very large meals, but there's some benefits that's going to happen in the body. We're going to talk about these benefits. But if you could imagine the the level of benefits that you're going to be receiving, right? The benefits your body is going to be reaping, the benefits that your mind's going to be reaping, the benefits that you're going to reap in the spirit is out of this world, right? The most powerful fast that you can do is the 72-hour fast, right? 3 days to rebuild the body. You know what I mean? 3 days to rebuild the temple. 72 hours is a very powerful fast. And I'll talk about that. But, closer to 72 hours, I mean, 48-hour fasting, you fasting and you eating every 2 days. you are kicking your body, and you're kicking the benefits, and you're kicking the repair that's taking place in your body to a very high level, right? And it's no secret in nature that when there's damage to the body, or if there's illness in the body, fasting repairs the body, right? When we see animals that are sick, the first sign that an animal is sick is that they stop eating. But in our lack of knowledge, what we do is when the animal stops eating, we're like, oh, something's wrong with the animal, and then we do everything in our power to get them eating again. But in actuality, the fact that they're absent from food, the fact that they're in this fasted state, is allowing cell regeneration, right? It's allowing the body to repair itself. And I'm gonna tell you the terms for these things and go over them a little bit with you here shortly, right? Um, just because, wow, we already been in here 25 minutes. I can't even. Whoa, I'm back. um, so that's one of the signs in nature that something's wrong. When something starts eating, right, that means it's sending its body into repair mode. So we have to be aware of that, right? um so those are the levels of fasting. Now, beyond this, right, everything I just talked about is intermittent fasting, right? Now there are longer fasts. Some people, like myself, I think it was maybe like 5 years ago, was maybe 4 years ago. I did a 14-day water fast at one point. It was 14 days, nothing but water, with lemon in it, lemon water, for 14 days. It was for a couple of different reasons. It really was to cleanse the mind. It really was to cleanse the body. I did need to drop weight, but it was more for the spiritual benefits of it than it was for the weight loss benefits of it, and who I became inside of that fast. And after that fast, monumentally changed my life and my direction, right? So there are longer fasts, but these fasts I would not recommend specifically for weight loss, or yeah, specifically for weight loss. These are deeper. You know what I mean? These are more like spiritual. These are more just like a total repair of your being all the way around when we get into these things. Some people do a 7-day fast, 14-day fast, 30-day fast, 40-day fast. I even seen people do 90-day fast. Obviously, if you're going to do anything above, or any kind of fast, check with your health care provider. You know what I mean? But if you're gonna do something that extreme, like, you really should be supervised by a professional. Just because there's a lot of changes that take place in the body, and you should be monitoring your levels as you're going through these fasts, just to make sure that everything is a-okay, right? But okay, what are some of the main benefits of fasting? Like, what are we looking at when we get past that 16-hour window, right? When we're already 16 hours fasted, now we got an 8-hour eating window, and we start to build up to 20 and 4, or warrior diet, OMAD, or alternate day fasting. Like, when we get into these fasting cycles, what are some of the benefits? Now, the benefits themselves, I feel like, is its own show, but I want to share some of the benefits, some of the ones that really got my attention, and some of the benefits that I've been experiencing that I can share with you guys, right? So, one of the main, actually, I won't even start with this. I won't even start with this one, because this one is the most powerful. So I'm gonna save it for the end. But some of the benefits: digestion, right? We talked about this earlier. 24 hours to digest a meal. When you stop shoveling food in constantly, and you give your body an opportunity to process what you've already eaten, right? Give it time to run the full course. What you're going to find is your digestion is going to improve, right? A lot of people have digestive issues. Some people, they can't use the bathroom. Some people can use the bathroom, but their stool's not the healthiest. Some people are dealing with, discomfort of the gut. There's a lot of different gut issues that's going on right now, and it's because the bacteria in the gut is out of whack. Not only because we're eating all of the time, but because 90% of the things we put in our mouth aren't actually food, right? There's some chemical engineered thing that they sell you in a grocery store, but it's not an actual food, right? So we have all these things inside of our body, and putting stress on our the bile in our stomach, right? And our ability to naturally digest food. So when you give the gut time to rest, right? It takes a lot of energy from the body to actually digest food. When you allow your digestive system to get some rest in between the food that you send into it, it allows it to properly digest, right? And it allows the proper bacteria, the good bacteria, to flourish inside of your gut. So when food does come in, it can actually break it down in the manner that it's supposed to, right? So digestive health improves drastically when you start fasting, right? Because it allows that digestive system to do what it's naturally supposed to do without working overtime from the constant shoveling in. Um, Lowers your insulin levels. So I'm not saying this in a sense of or recommending this to anybody who's diabetic, right? Diabetic. If you're diabetic, again, talk to whoever your healthcare person is. However, if you aren't someone who's diabetic, this is a great way to it's a great way to prevent diabetic problems in the future, right? And it's a great way to keep your insulin levels low because what happens for most people is that you eat these sugary foods, your insulin levels spikes up, right? Then it crashes down, and then it spikes up when you eat again, and we go on this roller coaster ride of up and down, up and down, up and down, up all day long until we go to sleep, and it's just up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. What we want to do is we want to keep that insulin level low so our body's not storing fat. On top of that, you're not going to get the same cravings, not like, oh man, I want some Oreos. Oh man, I got to get a juice. Oh, let me get a soda. Your body's not calling for that sugar fix because the insulin is low, right? Um, so it keeps your insulin level low, which is great, right? We want to keep a low insulin level. It's less stress on the pancreas as well, right? So it's going to avoid a lot of issues in the present, but more so in the future, especially if you're someone who they say, oh, maybe you're borderline diabetic. This is a great way to curb that. Maybe you have diabetes in your family. It's a great way to curb that, right? To keep your insulin levels in check. And you could do that very easily with fasting. Another thing is, you know, I actually I don't want to talk about this one because it could get tricky. But I'll just say this: when it comes to disease prevention, right? And we know that there's different diseases out there in the world, and I'm not going to make claims that fasting cures anything, right? Because I could get a flag on the video. I don't want to do that. But what I want to say is do your research, and you'd be very surprised at the effect that fasting has on a lot of things. A lot of things. So do your research. Hey, what are the benefits of fasting for whatever ailment that you might be dealing with? Just look up fasting for that particular ailment, and you'll be surprised how much fasting can impact or reverse whatever it is that you're dealing with currently. Um, the last thing that I'll talk about, and my favorite thing, the thing that I love about fasting, and the benefit that I love about fasting, is something called autophagy, right? And I know a lot of you guys probably never heard of autophagy before. Um, it was a while back that I first heard of autophagy, but when I heard of it and I learned about it and what it means and what it does in the body, I said, okay, I'm all in. I got to get me some autophagy, right? So autophagy is something that happens in the body, and it's something that can happen in all of our bodies, and it's something that should be happening in our bodies because autophagy is the body's way of repairing itself, restoring itself, replenishing itself, right? So when you're in a state of autophagy, which typically happens about 18 hours into a fast, you're going to go into autophagy, and then the effects of or the benefits of autophagy will last from that 18-hour mark while you're in a fasted state up until about 72 hours. And then that's where it will plateau, right? So you can enjoy the benefits of autophagy from that 18-hour to 72-hour mark. Now, what is autophagy, right? Why do I love autophagy so much? Autophagy is the body's ability. Our bodies are amazing by design. Our bodies are amazing by design. But autophagy is the body's ability to repair itself. And what it basically does is it scavenges through the body and it looks for damaged cells. It looks for viruses. It looks for disease. It basically looks for anything that's not supposed to be in the body or anything that's in the body and is damaged or not proper. And what does it do? Autophagy just means basically to eat. It's like eating yourself, right? And I know that sounds crazy, but let me explain further. It's not crazy. It's actually a great thing. So it's gonna find all these damaged things. It's gonna find all these viruses, diseases, things that don't belong in your body. And what it's gonna do is it's gonna consume it, and then after it consumes it, it's going to use the energy that it gets from consuming that thing to produce something new, produce new cells, even produce new stem cells. I know you guys heard of like stem cell research and how they, trying to make stem cells legal so they can, I don't even know if they've done that already, so that they can further medicine, right? And get into some new treatments and things of that nature. Well, guess what? Your body, when you're in autophagy, it's going to create new cells. It's going to repair damaged cells. It's going to make new of your body. It's going to start to rebuild you from the inside, right? Um, and that's amazing. But the sad problem or the sad truth of the matter is most people never allow their self to get into autophagy because they're constantly eating, right? If you're eating all the time, your body never goes into autophagy because it's working all of the time on the food that you're putting into your body all of the time. So it never has a chance to go into itself and clean up, right? That's like if you was like, oh, I'm gonna clean my house. I'm gonna go ahead and clean my house. But when you got ready to clean your house, you know, people just started bringing more stuff, more stuff, more stuff, more stuff into the house, and you just got to clean up everything they're bringing in. You never had time to stop and clean what was already in there, right? So we have a lot of stuff that's built up in our gut. We have a lot of stuff that's built up throughout our body that should be consumed by the body, right? Consumed by the body, and then that fuel used to make something new. But we never allow our bodies to get there because we never reached that 18-hour mark. See, in nature, we reach that 18-hour mark all the time because guess what? People weren't waking up. People weren't waking up in the morning and say, okay, let me get some cereal, a bagel, a donut, a coffee. You know what I mean? These things were not available. So basically, when people woke up in the morning, you know, during the hours that the sun was up, they were out hunting. They were out getting the food. They were out, picking the fruit. They were collecting the food. And then even when they brought the food back, they would feast at the end of the day. And sometimes they wouldn't have enough food to eat every single day. Maybe they had enough food for them to have a, feast with the family and they ate on a Monday, but Tuesday, Wednesday was spent trying to get more food. And then they got more food that came in, right? But during these periods, the body's designed to live inside of these periods, inside of these moments without food. There's so many mechanisms in the body that actually perform powerfully when we're in a state of um needing food. When the body says, okay, time to go get more food, there's certain things that activate, right? So when I told you guys I feel great when I'm fasted, right? When I'm doing my 20 and 4, like when I'm in my 20-hour fasted window, I feel amazing. And the reason why I tell you that I feel amazing is because those switches are going on. Now, people will say, oh, you ain't eat for 20 hours. Do you got energy? I got more energy than when I was eating, right? Because when you're eating all day long, what's going on? That roller coaster ride of the insulin, right? You're spiking up, you feel great, you crash. You spiking up, you feel great, you crash. There's no spike up, there's no crash, right? What is happening though is because I'm in a fasted state. Guess what's up inside of my body? My adrenaline kicks on sometimes. Sometimes I got too much energy, I don't even know what to do with it. But the reason why I have this energy is because my body is saying, okay, you need energy so you can go out and find more food, right? The body doesn't know and wasn't designed for this modern world that we live in, where I could just go on my phone and order some Uber Eats, so I could just go to Stop and Shop and grab some food, right? We were designed to go ahead and find our food in nature, right? So by nature, our body, when it knows, okay, there's no more food coming in, turn on these things to enable this person to go out and get more food. So my vision is clearer. Why is my vision clearer? So I can see where everything is. My awareness is heightened, right? I'm more aware of everything. I can think more clearly and I can think quicker, right? I could think like in a drop of a dime, something happens, boom, I'm ready. My mind's there, right? It's not foggy. I don't have no mind, what they call it, mind fog, or there's not none of that stuff going on. And again, adrenaline is high. These are all effects of going into, and when I say hunter mode, I don't want, people to be like, oh, I thought you were vegetarian. I am a vegetarian. When I say hunter mode, I mean like going out and gathering, you know what I mean? Like going out and finding the fruit, finding whatever it is that you're going to eat. Um, there's certain things that have to take place in the body to put you in position to be able to do those things, right? Um, yeah. Whew. So I just did a lot of talking. Um, but I don't want to stay too long. I was supposed to go until like 9 o'clock, but it's the first episode back, and I have been receiving a lot of questions in regards to fasting. I hope that I did at least lay the groundwork. If anybody has any questions in regards to fasting, and how they could get started, I think I let you guys know 12 and 12 is a great starting point. 16 and 8 is even better. If you can start with a 16 and 8, you can do it too. I know in your mind you're probably thinking, oh, I don't know. It's a lot easier than you think. It's a lot easier than you think. All you're gonna do is skip breakfast. Start with your lunch and dinner. That's it. Lunch, snack, dinner, snack, done. That's super easy. And even the word breakfast, people are like, oh, I got to get my breakfast. Guess what? Whatever the first thing you eat any day, I don't care if the first thing you eat is at 8 o'clock at night. Guess what? That's your breakfast. Because the word breakfast is basically break fast. That's where that word comes from, right? Breakfast is break fast. Um, so that being said, listen, the body's amazing. There's so much built in the body for us, but unfortunately, the information that we've gotten up until this point when it comes to, eating and how, like, when we should eat and eating schedules and all of that, it's not designed with our best interest in mind, right? It's not designed to keep us the healthiest. Um, and I would have you guys really, don't even take my word for it, right? I'm just giving you the information I got, and I'm sharing with you my passion because of how much this has changed my life and how much I've seen this change other people's lives, who have had these conversations with me and then decided to do it themselves, and to watch them change, not only physically, but to watch them change spiritually and watch them change mentally, right? Have a mental clearness that they never had before. I share this with you from my experience, but with anything I ever share with you, just go do your own research. You should never just listen to someone and be like, okay, that's what it is. No, like, take it and say, okay, that was great information. Let me go verify it. Like, let me go do my information, my homework on it, right? Um, to find out more. But if you guys have any questions about it, and anything I said tonight, kind of got your attention, you say, what, I do want to know more about this. You could definitely inbox me, send me a message. I'll share with you everything I know. Um, I'm not an expert when it comes to it, but I'm damn near close because I've been doing it and I've been, doing my research and everything. But you know, you guys can ask me any questions. If I don't got the answer, we'll find it together. All right. So this is episode 1, Coach Brown Show, Power of Fasting. It feels good to be back. We're gonna be streaming every Monday, from 8:30 to 9, 8:30 to 9. Sometimes we might go over because anybody who knows me, I love to talk. But 8:30 to 9. And yeah, it feels good to be back. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And I look forward to being back with you next Monday. Potentially. Well, I'll put out the promo for next Monday's show, but we're gonna have someone joining us as a guest. And also, if you guys have any people that you feel like, oh, you know what, you can have them as a guest, send them to me. Send me their information, or you can send them in my direction. I'm happy to talk to anybody. Listen, this podcast is going to be all about, or the show, podcast, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be all about bringing you guys information that can change your life, bring you guys information that could change the dynamic of your existence. And then also talking about the things that are going on that, maybe people aren't talking about, or people, the main narrative that's out right now is not one that's really for the people. That's not really for you guys, right? People are feeding you lies and deceptions. Then we're going to address that, because we're going to talk about, like I told you, I'm a life loving spiritual coach, but I'm also no other way to say I'm also just a real dude who loves the truth, right? And we're always going to talk about the truth, whatever it is, right? And whatever conversations we got to get into, we'll get into. We're not going to shy away from any conversations. We're not going to shy away from any guests, right? We're going to have the hard conversations. We're going to do the deep dives. We're going to touch those touchy subjects, because that's where growth happens. And my commitment to you is that we're gonna learn, we're gonna grow together, and we're gonna have a great time doing it. Right? We're gonna have a great time doing it. But all right, guys, listen. I appreciate everybody for joining in tonight. And if you guys have any questions, like I said, hit me up, and we are going to call it a night until next Monday, 8:30, for episode 2, Coach Brown Show. Let's go, baby.